Joining us now, Republican Senator Chesterfield Amanda Chase, long-time person on the John Fredericks Show, been on many times. Also has a chance to guest host every now and again, does very good there. She's running for governor for the Republican nomination. That'll be settled, well, we don't know when, sometime in 2021. Will it be a convention? Well, I hope not, because conventions are asinine. It should be a primary. That's why I'm voting for Jack Wilson. Did I mention that I'm voting for Jack Wilson and I will not vote for Richie Anderson? I'm a one-issue voter. I want primaries. I want to ban conventions. By the way, Joe Morrissey's got a bill in to ban them for state and federal candidates. Danica Rome carry it in the House. I think it's going to pass. Who's going to vote no? Democrats. Why? Because they want Republicans to screw themselves by having these ridiculous Rigo conventions. Anyway, sidebar. Joining us now, Amanda Chase. Senator, good to have you with us.
Good morning, John. Man, I am so with you about fighting these corrupt and consultant-driven conventions that I have seen over the past decade disenfranchise the grassroots. They have no idea that they're just mere puppets at the hands and the expense of these consultants. I have actually had consultants who were pursuing me to run for Congress say, oh, don't worry, we'll win this for you. And I'm like, whoa, I want the people to choose me as their next whatever. I don't want a bunch of consultants rigging the system. You know, they can't really do that as much with the primaries. I am with you 150%. We need primaries in Virginia. We don't need conventions. They're bad. They're terrible.
They are ripping the soul out of the party. They're a pox on us. They're destroying any chance that Republicans have in Virginia of mounting any kind of an effort, and yet they continue unabated because we've got a handful of people like Bonnie and Clyde and others that want to keep it small, control it all. They do that by rigging these conventions, and they've made a business out of it, and it's sick, and it needs to stop. So that's why I'm voting for Wilson. I don't care what he's done. I can't vote for Anderson for one reason. He hasn't come out against conventions. And, of course, Mike Shoro, the other guy, is for conventions. So there's no way I'm voting for him. So that's why I'm voting for Jack Wilson. I don't care what the other issues are until you get rid of these conventions. And let me tell you something. Good for you in making the threat that if there's a convention, you'll run as an independent. Good for you.
Well, thank you for that. You know, John, I am 100% a Christian, conservative, Republican in that order. And, you know, some of these Republican establishment elitists have put it out there, well, she's not really a Republican because she said she'll run as an independent. That is complete BS. I have the highest score in the Senate. Give me a break. I don't like corruption. I'm a mom. I'm a small business owner. I'm here to clean up Richmond, and that is the best thing that we can do. We should eliminate these conventions from the Republican Party. I have seen so many shenanigans over the past 10 years, and I can systematically go through every single one of those. This past convention with the 7th Congressional District, we, the people, sat outside in a 105-degree heat index, people passing out right and left. It's no wonder we can't get people that want to join the Republican Party when we're asking them to sit on the Titanic with no coffee, no food, no restrooms. It's just destructive.
That was
to our party.
The 7th was a joke. The 5th, they rigged the nomination and stole it from an incumbent Congressman, Denver Riggleman. And look, I back Nick Freitas and that, so it's not sour grapes. I think if Nick had a primary, he would have been the nominee anyway. He would have won easily. So this isn't about one of my candidates got beat, so I don't like conventions. The things are a joke. Okay, we got a lot to cover. Let me just start at the top. I'm rating you as the favorite right now to be the nominee. I think if the election were held today, if the primary were held today, I think Amanda Chase would be the nominee. So that's where I start. I've got you as the favorite. But, Amanda, you got a lot of issues here. I want to go over them one by one, and I'm going to take my time in it. So I got to go over them one by one because, Amanda, you got a lot of stuff now adding up, and we're getting almost to the straw that might break the camel's back. I want to start with you accepted $10,000 in your campaign from the most left-wing political action committee in Virginia, funded by Michael Bill's Clean Energy. This is a liberal group. They also fund the paper that we're going to be competing with, the Virginia Mercury. I mean, this is a left-wing organization. They gave you $10,000. They want you to be the nominee because they think you'll get annihilated in November. How do you respond to that?
So listen, Clean Virginia, by the way, is the name of the group. In addition, Delegate Dave LaRock, Delegate Glenn Davis, Senator David Obenshane, Senator Suderland.
Mark Obenshane.
Yeah, well, it wasn't Mark Obenshane that
David
accepted
Souter?
money. LaRock, Davis, and Suderline all also accepted money from Clean Virginia. Now, why is that? We received $5,000 for our individual races, my Senate race and their delegate races, because we had a principled stance against accepting campaign contributions from regulated monopolies, Dominion Energy, and Appalachian Power, including their top executives and lobbyists. And we don't own stock in their companies. This was all about everybody understands, the corruption in politics. And listen, I have never voted for any of their initiatives. Look at my voting record. I mean, that's what you guys need to look at. Look at LaRock, Davis, Suderline's voting record. That's what counts. We chose not to accept money. And so they gave us the $5,000. I'm okay with that. And listen, it's more important how you vote than the other stuff. We can take money and
but
use it.
But they're a pay-to-play
for good purposes.
organization. Everybody knows everything they do, Amanda Chase, comes with a quid pro quo. They're under fire for that now. They gave money to liberals, progressives, and they called them up and wanted them to make certain votes for speaker and everything else. This is a pay-to-play organization. So you took their $10,000. I mean, isn't there an expectation?
Well, I did not. If you look at my voting record, they may have given me money, but I didn't vote for any of their initiatives, and that's what counts.
So you're going to take their money, and then when they call you up and leverage your vote on a certain thing, if you're governor, what are you going to tell them? Thanks for the money, but screw you?
Yeah, that's exactly what you say. Anybody can donate to my campaign, and it does not mean that I'm beholden to them just because they give me money. That's ludicrous. Listen, I vote the right way because it's right for the people. People donate all the time. It goes straight into my treasurer to my treasurer. I mean, half the time we don't even know who is contributing to our campaigns. We don't look at that stuff. But I did it. I believe that we should take a principled stance against accepting campaign contributions from regulated monopolies, and I don't think that's a big deal. I mean,
so you're not going to take the money from Dominion Energy that you say is a regulated monopoly. They don't ask for anything. They never call you up and ask for anything.
Yes,
Clean Energy, on the other time, gives you $10,000, and all they do is ask for stuff for quid pro quo. So, man, it doesn't add up. Come on.
Well, I don't. Look at my voting record. So go pull my voting record up. Did I vote for any of their initiatives? Absolutely not. A Chase was a no, and in fact, they
so then why don't you
take
to be consistent? Then let me just ask you this: so to be consistent, then why don't you take Dominion Energy money as well?
Because
I mean, if you're sitting here saying it doesn't matter, just my campaign treasury's open, why don't you take Dominion money?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because I was working on coal ash legislation, Tom, and I thought it was a conflict of interest. As you all probably know, I was the lead on working to get Dominion and holding them accountable when it comes to cleaning up coal ash in Virginia. I worked with Senator Servell on this issue. We were the top two legislators that made Dominion clean up the coal ash, which was creating elevated risk of cancer in Virginia. We took care of that in 4 years. I don't feel that any of us who are legislators who sit on these committees should be accepting money whenever we have legislation coming before our committee and then the same lobbyists are giving to us. I just think that's unethical. And you're going to see legislation come up in 2021 where I say, if you are our legislator and you're sitting on a committee and you have legislation from one of these lobbyists that comes before you, they can't give you money. It's unethical. It's wrong. And so for that reason, I chose not to take money
Well,
from
look,
Dominion
I
because
just think it's a double
before me.
standard because you took money from Clean Virginia, and they have a lobbyist, and they're going to call you up. But let's move on from that.
Sure.
I mean, to me, if Dominion Energy sends you money, I'd put it in your bank account because then you're consistent. Let's move on. When the statue things came up, you made a couple of statements that were not taken kindly by some. For instance, you said that removing the statues was erasing white history. As a result of that, the Northern Virginia Chamber of Commerce rescinded its invite for you to speak to its members in an online roundtable. This is the Virginia Commerce saying that your comments were racially offensive. How do you respond to that?
So, I will speak the truth, regardless of whether it's politically correct or not, to make people think. It's not just about votes for me. It's about making points and bringing some understanding to issues that we talk about. John, why is it we can talk about Black history and people don't flinch? Why is it we have Black History Month and people don't flinch? Why is it we have a Black Legislative Caucus? People don't flinch. But if I mention white history, people come unglued. See, that is the problem. This is American history. It's American history. It's Virginia history. It should be taught chronologically, not by the color of your skin. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. And so my point there was that they were starting with the Confederate statues, but I knew it was going to come down to the Founding Fathers, simply because the color of their skin. Then they're taking down Columbus. But notice how they leave Arthur Ashe up, all these other, listen, it's complete. I was just truthful. And 2 weeks later, I came out and said, I told you so. I told you so. They're going after white history. They want to erase Virginia history and anything they want to, what they're being taught in our schools. Our kids are taught to apologize for the color of their skin. They are taught that they are the reason that our country is where it is today, that we should apologize for our racist past. Listen, we should be proud of America and our founding fathers and their stance for liberty and fighting back against the British. I mean, yes, do we have sins of the past? Absolutely. And we should learn from history, but we don't erase it. We don't erase it. We keep the monuments up there. I mean, they took down Speaker Fillercorn, took out of the old House chamber a bust of Fitzhugh Lee, who was the 40th governor of Virginia. Unbelievable, just because he was a nephew of Robert E. Lee. I mean, that's what these liberal socialist Democrats are doing. They're trying to erase history. They're trying to, I don't really know what they're doing, but they're ticking off a lot of people. We need to add more monuments. Let's put one of Douglas Wilder, the first African-American governor in Virginia. Let's add to history. I mean, but to take down history is just wrong on so many levels. And to address the, I think it was the Fairfax Chamber of Commerce or whatever, if you read the headlines, it actually read, Senator Chase, candidate for governor, demands an apology. You know, in their mission statement itself, it says that they are an inclusive organization, yet they refuse to allow me, the one GOP candidate for office, to come in and speak to their group and allow their members to make an assessment and determination for themselves.
I think it was because, when you throw around the word, we don't want to erase white history. I mean, it doesn't have a good ring to it, Amanda. I don't think that's a campaign slogan you're going to put out there. And look, I mean, everybody knows what history is. When you say white history, it's affrontive to the African-American community. It's like, well, what is that? And so, look, people are trying to bring attention to some of the sins of the past. And when you make comments like that, they're racially insensitive. And I mean, look, again, you're not going to put a TV ad up that says Amanda Chase for governor. Let's celebrate white history. You would never do that. So why would you say it? And then I can't blame the Chamber of Commerce. They just don't want the hassle, right? People want to open up their businesses and get people back in, and maybe the chamber. Look, I'm not a chamber fan. I can't stand them, so I'm not defending them. Right, biggest globalist organization there is. So I'm not defending them. But I mean, it's tough to defend that statement, Amanda. You wouldn't put that on a campaign flyer, would you?
Well, no, I would not put that on a campaign flyer. But, John, what I would say is it's important that we realize what is really going on here. That we are using race to divide our country, and the media and all these outlets are trying to pit blacks against whites and otherwise to tear down our country, and we have to resist that. But there is an all-out attack on folks that are white. There just is. They're trying to take down they were trying to take down Abraham Lincoln's statue in Liberty Park, the Emancipation statue. I mean, Abraham Lincoln was a figure of
Well, everything goes too far.
Trying to free people.
Taking down Christopher Columbus and throw it in the lake. I mean, that's a front of the Italian Americans. So, everything goes too far. Okay, let's get to this Sunday in Harrisonburg. So you're going to a restaurant, right? Now, look, I was the original anti-masker. I hate these masks. But I'm like, look, if I got to wear a mask so that a business can stay open and hire employees, fine, whatever. I'm just over it. So you're in Harrisonburg. You go for a meal. You go to lunch. You don't have a mask on. They have a policy that says you have to have a mask on. So you got two choices. Put the mask on or go somewhere else, right? It's the same thing that we say about the baker where the gay couple comes in and says, I want a cake with a gay couple on it. The baker says, look, that's not comfortable to me. I don't really want to do that. Well, go to the baker across the street. I mean, that's been my position always. Why fight this stuff? It's not worth it. So, because you got other choices. So instead, you get into a fight with them. Then you say, well, you're not wearing a mask for medical reasons. What medical reasons is that? Then you get into a fight with them. It just, people are looking at this and saying, okay, first of all, you told them you had a medical condition, you couldn't wear a mask.
First of all, my security person, I was there with my security team. We were in Harrisonburg. I had just spoken to a 2A group, and my campaign team and I were getting something for dinner. So there were about 8 of us there in line. And I walk in, and my entire team has on masks. I can't wear a mask, okay? I can't. And I have a doctor's note to back that up. In the governor's executive order under 63, Executive Order 63, there is an exemption for people who have medical conditions. And you are not allowed to ask what the medical condition is. And you're not. And so I was trying to, the first person that came up was simply part of the wait staff, and I simply advised, listen, I appreciate your policy, I understand your policy, but I fall under the medical exemption that is allowed this executive order. I was very calm. I was not upset. The guy went and got the owner. I explained it to him. It was actually the owner that actually kind of got in my face and was upset. And I was like, look, can we make an accommodation here? Can I go sit outside over here and y'all serve me there? He's like, no, absolutely not. You can only do curbside. And I'm like, I'm here with a group of people. You're telling, we're here from out of town. Curbside.
Okay, so you guys were going to eat. This was not takeout. You were going to eat at the restaurant and get a table, right?
Right.
So all you have to do is get, for 18 seconds while they're seating you, all you have to do is get a shirt out of the car, get a towel, put it over your face, go sit at your table and take it off. Why make this big thing out of it? And she's writing on Facebook and you upset her. And it's just like, you just keep adding these things up. I've got you as the favorite. I think you're going to win, but it's just one after the other. Why not just go in the car, get a cloth, put it over your face? I mean, I've seen people do that. They just put the cloth over their face. They get seated. End of story. Then you eat, smile, and leave hopefully 25% for the people that are trying to struggle to get back to work. End of story. We wouldn't even be talking about this. Why don't you just do that?
Number one, I'll tell you exactly why. Number one, because I medically can't. Number two, because, I'm a fighter and I understand the executive order. Not everybody does. I could have easily just walked away and found another restaurant. Maybe I couldn't. Maybe I'd be stuck in a city where everybody was shut down because everybody's terrified that the Virginia Department of Health is going to come in and shut down their business, and then you then you get no service anywhere. I mean, we're getting to that point. But I'm thinking I have to make a stand for those with disabilities who would not fight this. I talk to people every day across Virginia who say medically, I cannot wear a mask. And the governor's mandate, I'm not going after the business. I'm going after the governor here and his inconsistent orders, using the Virginia Department of Health to enforce his terrible policies. They're confusing. His executive order itself allows for an exemption for folks with medical reasons, yet they're not educating the businesses and saying that, if you have someone, they are protected under the ADA, the Americans for Disability Act. What about, if I went in there and I was handicapped, if I was black, if I was gay, and I was turned away from doing business, people would be through the roof, and rightly so. But we should have that same being appalled and upset because someone with a disability walks in who legitimately cannot wear a mask and turn them away from business. No, we should make reasonable accommodations.
So did you tell the business owner, you had a note, did you tell the business owner that you were exempt?
He took a picture of my doctor's note, which is a violation. He cannot do that.
That's true.
He cannot do that, and yet he did. Now, listen, we sat down, we had our dinner, and when we left, I had a great conversation with the owner, and I said, look, I am 100% for you, but let me educate you. Here is executive order. I pulled it up on my phone. I read to him the exception, and he was like, wow. And I said, yeah. I said, and I think we need to educate businesses, and I think the governor needs to clarify this in one of his press conferences that he does, that we have to look out for those who are disabled. Not everybody can just wear a mask. There are a number of issues medically that people can't, and so we need to stop demonizing those people. I know people who aren't going out in public because they don't want to be harassed. They don't want to be demoralized, and they're not getting the medication, the food, and the things that they need. And we need to defend and fight for them. I'm going to be a governor for all Virginians, including those who are disabled, and I will be a voice for them even during this pandemic, even if it means controversy. John, I'm going to do the right thing regardless. And sometimes we walk away as Republicans when we need to stand up and fight. We don't need another nice guy as governor. We need a fighter that's in there that's going to fight against these overreaching. What's next? The vaccinations. Now they're going to try to mandate vaccinations. If you don't have a vaccination, what's next? Where does it stop? Who's going to fight against this? I'll tell you who's going to fight against it. It's going to be me, Virginia State Senator Amanda Chase, who has a history and a record of fighting for the people and standing up to this stuff. Republicans are weak-kneed. They're too quiet. They're not speaking up. They need to change their mascot to a cricket because we don't stand up like we should. And let me just tell you something. I am all about, there is no one more Republican than me. I've got it stamped on my heart. Listen, but if we don't stand up and fight, the people have recruited me to run for office because they're tired of weak-kneed Republicans and elected leaders that sit over in the corner and curl up in the fetal position, won't open their mouth and stand up and stand up to this governor. All they do is issue press releases. Where were they when I did reopen Virginia? Huddled up in their offices, scared to death to do anything. Listen, the people are endorsing me. I may not have the support of any Republican delegates or senators. I really don't care. There's only 139 of them. There are millions of Virginians, Republicans, Democrats, and independents who are supporting Amanda Chase for governor because they're tired of weak-kneed elected officials who sit back in the corner in the fetal position. I'm up there in the Capitol with an AR-15 going face to face with armed Black Lives Matter.
I do like your.
You want
your
a fighter?
AR-15.
Hey, you vote for me, and I'm doing business.
I do like your AR-15. I do like.
I'm just sick of it.
Okay, listen.
I'm like,
best
somebody
line.
Get the balls and stand up with me. I mean, give me a break.
Best line
Please
ever.
Help us.
Best line ever. Republican Party. I'm sorry, I have to stop laughing. Republican Party of Virginia needs to change their mascot from an elephant to a cricket. Okay, that's a good line, Amanda. I got to tell you. I'm going to have to steal that one. That was really good. Look, final question here because I'm way over our time. Kirk Cox getting in the race. Former
He's a
speaker.
super
He's going to
nice
raise a lot of
guy.
money. Great guy. He's got a
Yeah.
lot of knowledge, got a lot of experience. A lot of people like him. How are you going to beat him?
Easily. Nobody wants a nice guy. I love Kirk Cox. Nice guys don't win in 2021. People want a fighter. He led whenever he had an opportunity to stand. I know you're for Medicaid expansion, but the people that I talked to in the Republican Party were not. They wanted a leader to fight it. He folded. He gave in like a jellyfish and caved in. And, if I were the majority leader, if I was the Speaker of the House, I would have talked to all of those Republican defectors and said, do you want to lose your chairmanship? Do you want to lose campaign funds? Because you're not going to get either one if you vote for Medicaid expansion. That's what real leaders do. They stand up. They don't fold. I'm a fighter. I'm a leader. Kirk Cox is a super nice guy, but nice guys don't win in 2021.
But I got to ask you one more question, Amanda. This whole mask thing. I mean, there's a picture of you that you posted on your Facebook page when you were getting your hair styled when that was finally back open, and you have a mask on. So why is it okay to have a mask on when you're getting your hair styled, but it's not okay to have a mask on when you go into a place of business that somebody requires it? So why did you have a mask on then in your Facebook page, but not a mask on in Harrisonburg?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because I am very much in favor of respecting small businesses. I mean, I really am. But I realized very soon that I could not wear a mask for medical reasons.
All right, so that picture was taken, you're saying, with the mask on before you went to your doctor who said you can't wear a mask for medical reasons. All right.
Right.
That's
right.
I mean, that's fine. You probably need to get the date straight. But look, I appreciate you coming on. I've got you as the favorite. I think you're going to be the nominee right now. If the election were held now, you're gonna win. What happens between now and whenever, I don't know. But right now, you're the favorite. Just want to tell my audience, we got all these things piling up. I asked Amanda to come on. We didn't go over any of it. It's all cold. And
we need a 2-hour show. I want you to come on. We're going to talk for 2 hours. I have a lot to say. We need to talk about pay to play, John.
All right, I'll do it next week.
We need to talk about pay to play. People need to understand what's going on with
I'll do
legislators making $18,000 and getting paid. They have to pay caucus dues that are $10,000 or more, making these legislators beholden to lobbyists. It's no wonder our state is in the state that it is.
Tommy Norman is still mad at me because I endorsed your position in not paying the dues, and he said if you don't pay the dues, there's no party. So they're still mad at me over that. Jeff Ryer's mad at me. But yeah, we'll have you on for 2 hours. I appreciate the time. I got to take off though. Amanda Chase, running for governor, Republican Senator Chesterfield. Amanda, thanks for coming on as always, being so accessible and transparent. Thank you.
Thank you, John.